Well, everyone, welcome. This is Zach Kircher, the host of this here channel, Kircher Talks Entertainment. I'm joined by the Brothers Pugmire today. Some of them anyway, not all of them. But we've got
Hello.
Justin.
Hello.
And Michael.
Hello there!
Hello there.
General Kenobi!
You are a bold one!
Hey, the prequels. Which we're also talking about today, because it's technically a prequel. Yay!
The subreddit is going to go bananas. If they haven't already.
The prequel was fine. The prequels were fine.
Prequels are fun.
We watched a Star Wars thing, and we are now here to talk about it.
And watch as the Star Wars fan base brings down its unreasonable wrath because no one knows how to, be polite in debates anymore. But,
Yeah, it's fine. They won't do that. Quit bagging on them. They'll be fine. They'll figure it out. They're all adults-ish.
But do they act like it?
No.
Yes.
If we can have the actor for Jar Jar genuinely consider taking his own life because the fans were so intense about hating it.
I think Obi-Wan was good.
Yeah.
I think it stretched. I thought it was stretched a little thin. It could have been like 4 episodes. But I think people would have thrown a fit if it was any shorter than 6 episodes.
I would have been disappointed because I really like watching
Exhibit
it.
A.
I would have been slightly disappointed. I wouldn't have thrown a fit. It's not a flip the table moment, but I do
Exhibit B.
like more time around Obi-Wan because I actually just I have this weird thing where characters I like, I don't really care what they're doing. I'll just kind of watch them do stuff as long as it's somewhat conducive to plot.
Yeah, I feel that.
I suppose so. I mean, if you make it entertaining, then, that's one thing. Doesn't always have to be super urgent or have really high stakes.
What do you think?
About the show as a whole? Or about what we were just talking about?
Just in general.
Well, I was saying before we started recording that I think this is going to be a very interesting conversation because I'm not quite so high on the positive spectrum on this.
It's
So?
treason, man. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, Zach. You're totally valid.
You're fine. But I should say that, once again, I hate that we have to basically, talk to people like they're kindergartners or whatever, but it's okay to have a positive opinion on this show. It's okay to have a negative opinion on this show, just as long as you keep it fair and, reasonable with your comments. Like if anyone's out here kind of like, pulling an Ahmed Best, where they're launching any sort of derogatory remarks against any of the actors, like specifically Moses Ingram or anything like that, then be the piece of garbage that you are.
Don't be horrible.
Dude, Ewan McGregor had to go online and straight up say, all of you knock it off. Like, that's a wonderful person that you all should not be trashing this bad.
I actually really liked her in the show.
Yeah.
And I'll point it out in that I think that she was good. There was points during the show where I was like, all right, what are we doing?
Please take her.
Overall, I thought she was good for what she was doing. The first 3 episodes before I found out what her ultimate motivation was, I was like, what is she doing here? And then Obi-Wan's like, you are hunting Vader. You're not hunting Jedi. And I was like, oh my gosh. That makes her character so much more interesting because she actually thought that she could handle Vader and then got bodied so hard.
That was hilarious because I think the Honest trailer pointed this out. Your grand plan for killing Darth Vader is just working your way up to being his right-hand man and then stab him in the back. That's how Sith have been working for the past 1,000 years. And also, you're an Inquisitor. The Inquisitors were only meant to take down high-level Padawans or low-level Knights. Someone in the weight class of Cal Kestis or Kanan Jarrus, they're not meant to take down people like Darth Vader, who is easily one of the best duelists of the time. So, I'm not sure why she thought that was
really
work.
funny. That whole scene where she was fighting Darth Vader was pretty sweet. Choreography and stuff.
That was one of the better parts of the show. I would say overall, one of the more positive aspects of the show is the handling of Darth Vader as a character.
Oh.
Yes.
Other YouTubers have said this. I'm going to try to be as unique with my comments as I can be, but it's true that I think that Darth Vader has been treated very well overall by Disney Star Wars. They've kind of recognized him as the imposing presence that he is.
As being awesome.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that too.
Like-
But like, they don't skimp out on him being like a truly malevolent force. You know, that episode. There's that episode where they're essentially in that little. I don't want to call it a camp, but it's like a little settlement, and Obi-Wan's hiding in it.
Well, he kills the kid.
Oh, he snaps those people's necks. Yes.
Yeah, he's just straight up walking through and then snapping people's necks and like tossing them around like they're nothing.
Yeah.
Complete disregard for human life. I'm like, this is the Vader I need.
That is, that's dead inside I am the darkness Vader as we could possibly ask for.
That was like in Fallen Order when he spoilers, by the way. If you haven't played Fallen Order, it's long enough.
First off, get on that. It's a really good game.
You should play it.
Yes.
But also, if you haven't played it by now, well, then you're just out of luck.
Submit.
Because when he shows up in Fallen Order, it made me like, oh my gosh, I can't even win. Doesn't even give him a health bar. He just throws you around.
That's the point, Sergeant.
I know, but I'm saying that they did a really good job there. They did a good job with him in Rebels and Rogue One. I think to your point, they've done a good job of making it so like, oh, he's awesome. And he's totally the reason why the Empire is the way that it is, because everybody hates him and is scared of him.
Yeah, pretty much.
To do a quick sidetrack to Rebels, I love that he's still very as close to unstoppable as you can get, but he was not invincible because Ahsoka actually managed to give him a really good fight. But she's fought people like Asajj Ventress and Darth Maul and General Grievous, and her master was Anakin Skywalker.
She also has Dave Filoni plot armor.
That's also true.
But it makes sense in universe why she was able to put up the fight she did. Is what I'm trying to say.
Sure, let's go with that.
No,
she did. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
But back to the Obi-Wan show that we're here to discuss.
I almost wouldn't have been surprised if she showed up in the show. To be honest with you,
I'm glad that she didn't.
I know, but I wouldn't have been surprised if she magically showed up to help Obi-Wan regain the fire or something.
It would have been cool to see her or Kel or Kanan, but in hindsight, I'm kind of glad that they didn't, because you don't want this to turn into the MCU. Well, like the MCU memes where everything has to be an advertisement for everything else. That's one of the best praises I gave Shang-Chi and Moon Knight, is they just kind of kept it to themselves. On to talking about this show, one thing that absolutely has to be one of the positives is just Ewan McGregor. Like, this man slipped back into the role even though he hasn't touched it in 17 years. Honestly, the only change is he has a couple more lines on his face, and that's about it. Like, he pulled it off so well.
He did do a good job, I thought.
Mm-hmm. And also, especially in the first episode where Obi-Wan is, like,
depressed old man.
Yeah, he's depressed, broken inside Ben Kenobi, who's dealing with insane PTSD and survivor's guilt every day.
I almost wonder if they made them write it that way so they could justify Last Jedi.
I have heard some people theorizing it that way, that like, in a way it's a sort of answer to what Rian Johnson was trying to do with that movie. That might be another conversation for another day, because that movie has just been
torn apart.
It's been argued about far beyond what it should have been.
Every single frame in that movie has been dissected across
5 years.
5 years worth of video essays.
Yeah.
So that's probably not a rabbit
digress. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. I was like, this is just like Luke. Maybe people who didn't like that maybe need to be quiet.
It's almost like when you train a guy who turns around and destroys the entire life you had. You don't take that very well, because that's how people work.
But needless to say, I do think Ewan McGregor is definitely good in the show, as well as pretty much every other performer for the most part. I mean, the material that some of them are given is rather rough, but you could tell that none of these actors were really,
phoning it in.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I think everyone seemed to enjoy being in the show, such as Kumail Nanjiani. He was very effusive of his love.
I liked his character. What's his name? Haja, I think?
Haja,
yeah.
I really liked Haja. He was funny.
Also, Ice Cube's kid was in the show.
Right?
He's the pilot.
You pilot.
The other one, you all mind if we talk about Vivian Blair?
Yeah.
Leia?
Absolutely.
This girl's 10 years old, and she's
She's
I
Carrie
don't
Fisher
I don't see a 10-year-old playing dress up. I can see Leia as a child.
Everything except for that chase in the second
jeez.
episode.
Oh yeah. Well,
What in the Looney Tunes was that?
I will give you that one.
Dude,
That was so bad.
it was
Well,
really bad.
But like you can tell, this isn't Leia from A New Hope, but she will become Leia from A New
I was
Hope.
watching this with Haley, and Haley was like, "What is happening? How did they not catch her?"
Some dude just walks right in front of a
Right
branch
to
and
a
just
branch
stops.
and doesn't say anything. He just, ugh.
What in the Looney Tunes, Sam Hill?
Yeah, just. Ugh.
Yeah.
What in the Looney Tunes did I was like, what the heck is happening? Sorry, David Jones. What the heck is going on?
So I was actually talking with my dad after he saw those first 2 episodes, and he said there were times that I really wanted Leia to just shut up so I didn't have to talk to her anymore. And I said, Dad, you have raised 7 10-year-olds so far. How many of us wanted to shut up when you told us to? And also, this is Leia, who was kind of... She was a little scrappy and didn't kind of talk back to people as an adult. So, made perfect sense to me.
A little scrappy.
Well, the way that Shea Frillis put it in his video, and I would agree, is that Leia is charmingly annoying, essentially. You know, she's obviously one of those characters that, you know, could grate on someone after a while, but it's all for a purpose. Like, she's a very earnest person, but also a very strong-willed and independent person, which is very, you know...
In character.
Yeah, that's in character of how Carrie Fisher was throughout the entirety of the original trilogy, and to an extent the sequels too. She was a bit more refined in that one, but...
Also old.
Also
old.
Also, Carrie Fisher had a little bird. By the time of the original trilogy, she had a bird named Lola, and that's why they named the droid Lola in this show. As a little
I
tribute
didn't
to
know that. That's awesome.
Rest in peace, Carrie.
She
We
was.
miss you.
She was.
You
a
would have
joy.
She would have kept Kevin Feige in line. So not Kevin Feige.
Kathleen.
She would have kept
Kathleen
Kathleen Kennedy
Kennedy.
in line.
Well, you know she was actually a script doctor on The Last Jedi. She actually helped Rian Johnson with the script a bit.
People don't realize she's actually a really talented writer. Like, people ask for her help on multiple stuff.
Also, have you heard her comedy? She is hilarious.
She is pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
Carrie
She was
Fisher's
in
really funny.
She was in When Harry Met Sally, and yeah, she's very good comedic timing in that movie.
Yeah. Good times. Miss
Anyway,
Carrie Fisher.
we keep going on tangents here.
Overall, I think that of all of the episodes, I think the last episode is the best one.
I would tend to agree. Yeah.
I will say this: I think Jeremy Johns made the point. This show could have been split into 2 shows. One that could have been Inquisitors R Us, and then one that could have been Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And that would have been fine. Because, like, I think Moses Ingram's character, her storyline is really interesting, and I think that could have carried the show.
Yeah, I think so.
And
I think
that's-
Obi-Wan and Anakin could have carried their own show, and we wouldn't have to mix them together. Because I think when you mix them together, their plots don't, like...
entirely line up.
They don't line up, and they're kind of... The cohesion is kind of like... If you have 2 repelling magnets, it's like... It wasn't very smooth, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it, but I was like, okay, well, this could have been better. But I'm interested to see where Reva goes from here. Because they're going to have to... I think they greenlit a show for her.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Which I don't mind. I think that actually her story would be really interesting.
And Moses Ingram is just a really good actress. Like I liked Reva in this show. She pulled it off.
I was so worried that from the very beginning that they would do the kind of standard, like, Iden Versio Stormtrooper redemption arc type of thing for her. And, well, to an extent, like, she does have a redemption arc in a sense. Like,
It wasn't so shoehorned.
yeah, I didn't feel as shoehorned as it could have. I mean,
It's a little shoehorned because we all knew that she was going to end up being a good guy at the end of the show. Or she was going to die. There wasn't any...
One of the two.
There wasn't a halfway. She was either going to die or she was... Because Obi-Wan was going to kill her, or she was going to end up being a good guy.
I don't know. I think it would have served her character better to die, though. Either to die or not get a redemption. Because clearly, like... And this is maybe where some of the inconsistencies in her character come from. her main motivation for taking down Vader is revenge for him killing all of her youngling friends, and yet she's trying to get back at Vader by killing Jedi.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like this is I use the Jedi to destroy the Jedi.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what Palpatine did.
I mean, like, if they
the stones to destroy the stones.
If they set up that whole, moral grayness conflict there better, I think that would have been more effective, but in the back of my mind, I'm just thinking,
whose plan was this?
The best part is Obi-Wan at the end. You haven't failed them. But what about all the other people that I...
Right?
What about all the people she did kill, Ben? I think
man.
we need to address that.
Yeah,
Plus... sorry,
go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, what was the purpose in her going after Luke?
Yeah.
I could not for the life of me figure that out.
That's what I said. I thought when I was watching the show, I was like, oh, she's trying to get back at Obi-Wan by going at Luke. But even then, it was like, when she finds that communicator thing, how does she connect the dots that Luke is the one that Ben is watching over? You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I don't know. That is some Scooby-Doo level detective skills of like Sherlock Holmes type of deduction where it's like...
Yeah, she must have been a master at 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon or something.
This is meme Batman levels of detective work. He just magically knows anything he needs to.
I know that it was moved to the story for it, but that was like a big gaping hole. I was like...
How on earth?
What?
Plus, I was thinking as all of this was happening, like...
How did Obi-Wan get there so fast?
Well...
There
is that.
Yes.
The second one was like, how the fuck did they get there so fast? Because, like, they were lightsaber fighting as she's chasing Luke.
He's light years away.
Yeah, I know. And he gets in the ship and lands, and she's, like, in the dune sea away from them.
She, like, just finished for the time.
Yeah, he's, like, anyway. I was like, that was my main thing. I was like, what the freak?
And... Sorry.
It's like Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They had to squeeze so much into that last episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier that it was like, holy crap, I feel like I've run a marathon and so many people have closed their arcs and blah, 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 blah.
So much whiplash,
It's a whiplash. Like, that was the same thing with this episode. I equate this show to that, where I was like, yeah, I liked it. I am interested to see where it goes from here, but with Obi-Wan, we're not going to get another show. At least I hope they don't. I really don't want a season 2 of this show.
No.
I'd rather...
It's like, what are they going to do?
Kidnap Leia again? That was my main thing.
Do not turn Leia into Princess Peach.
That was my only...
Seriously.
That was my only thing with the show is like, how are they going to justify Obi-Wan going out to do another mission? And like, kidnapping Leia was a low-hanging fruit, I felt like. They could have just... I thought going into it, I was like, oh, some Jedi is going to come, or the Inquisitors are going to come to Tatooine, and Obi-Wan's going to have to figure out a way to trail them away from Tatooine. Which he did kind of, but I would have liked that more rather than him having to go after kidnapped Leia. Like, I don't mind that Leia and him get together and stuff. I thought that was really nice, but like...
It also makes more sense why she would name her son after him and design her lightsaber like his.
And then she's like, Ben Kenobi? Where is he?
Exactly. Yeah. It makes a touch more sense.
It makes sense, but that's like how we have Clone Wars to justify why the prequels... A movie or a show shouldn't have to be justified by other movies or shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just standing on its own 2 legs, for sure.
So, anyway.
There is one other thing I want to say about the confrontation on Tatooine, though, that really nagged at me. What are the implications of Luke being chased by an Inquisitor and, like, literally being attacked by someone with a lightsaber? It's like... He probably would have had nightmares from that.
Well, my headcanon was that when he fell down that rock thing, he, like, forgot about it. But even then, I was
like Goku and just got
that's even a
bashed
stretch.
No, that's in the more immortal words of Kobe Bryant, that is a Bikram yoga stretch. Wow.
On top of the fact that, when he eventionally,
does
starts
become a Jedi?
Yeah. He doesn't know what lightsabers are. He doesn't know what the Force is. And yet, 9 years prior, he's chased by a dark Jedi that's trying to kill him for no reason.
Yeah.
Can we say also that Owen and Beru were like the fact that they like wanted to
Chads.
Stood
the
their
fact
ground
that
against
they
an
wanted to
Inquisitor.
fight an Inquisitor to save
Yeah.
Luke. I was like, way to go, Uncle Owen. Thought you were just some crusty old guy that didn't want to go to the Imperial Academy, but he's like a homie.
Yeah.
I actually
Yeah.
this show actually made me like Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru a lot more, and also totally justifies why Uncle Owen's like he has too much of his father. And yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. Totally justifies where Uncle Owen is in episode 4.
And
I
also
really
just-
appreciate that.
It also
Yeah.
just shows him being a good dad. Like, you guys, let's face it, Owen and Beru were Luke's true parents. Like, not biological, obviously, but they were the people who raised him and taught him all of his morals and how to go about life. Like, these were his parents, functionally.
Yeah.
And it's nice that we get to see a little more of Owen being a good dad.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing about this show for me. Like, overall, I do feel more on the negative side on it just because, like, there are good aspects to it that genuinely enhance the movies and, you know, those aspects that we've touched on, and then just kind of the insights we get about the characters and how they kind of impacted one another. But then I just think about all these other illogical inconsistencies that just I really can't get out of my head. You know, what we talked about with, you know, Reva going to Tatooine, but also just all the stuff that happened in episode 4 on the Fortress Inquisitorium or whatever it is.
Inquisitorious.
Inquisitorious, yeah.
They
My
said
favorite.
we're gonna have to infiltrate that, and Obi-Wan swims in through the water, and I was like, this exact infiltration plan was used 5 years ago by Cal Kestis
And they
Fallen
didn't
Order.
figure it out then.
How did no one figure out how to plug these
Also,
holes?
my favorite inconsistency of the whole show was when Tala bopped the stormtrooper on
Right.
the head, and he was like, ugh. I was like, are you freaking kidding me?
Or even better, when the trench coat escape.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
yeah.
That was-
That-
That's some Scooby-Doo level stuff right
that
there.
is, yeah.
It was the equivalent of Tala just leaving a banana peel on the ground and watching the stormtrooper just fall.
A stormtrooper would get knocked out from that too.
Ugh.
Like, I know in canon their lore is... I know in lore their armor is kind of trash compared to that of something like a clone trooper or a Mandalorian. But, like, this is armor. You'd think it could handle a little pop on the head.
Well, apparently not, I guess.
But
Oh
that
God.
that Obi-Wan flying from across the galaxy to Luke in about 3 seconds,
How did that...
and her figuring out that Luke was the one that Obi-Wan was protecting. Those are the
How
three
did that
things in
work?
this show that I was like, okay, come,
There's also-
what are we doing here? Why is
There's
this
also when Obi-Wan defeated Vader in episode 6. First off, Obi-Wan never struck me as like one of the Force users who's super powerful and levitates a bunch of things and then crushes people. He always struck me as more of like a crafty fighter. Like, he used the Force to pull your foot out from under you to get a good strike in. Like, that's more the vibe I got, but, you know, whatever. What really bugged me is he has fully given up on Anakin. He's like, my friend is truly dead. Goodbye, Darth. I'm like, kill him. He's right there. You've given up on this man. You're going to have
Yeah,
to
but-
kill him anyway, so what the...
Yeah, but episode 4 needs
Exactly. So why is there not a...
That's
Okay, if I could, what's the word? Submit my personal pitch for this. It would be, they have their fight, Obi-Wan gets in a few good hits, and they have their emotional conversation. Vader then, like, has the fit of rage, or at that last scream of, like, Obi-Wan! He brings down those little mini mountains, the rock spires they have. And Obi-Wan uses that as his cover to escape. Because that way he hasn't beaten Vader and it's clear, okay, I can't fight this guy anymore now. And that's why he has to rely on Luke. And then have him get to Tatooine and maybe, like, stop Reva in her tracks and make it clear, like, yes, I failed with Anakin. Please don't fall to hatred the same way he did. And now it makes more sense why she suddenly gets a redemption arc.
Yeah, but we would have missed the best scene in the whole show.
Which
That
is-
part when Obi-Wan cut the face mask off of Anakin, that whole 5 minute of them talking is the best part of the whole show.
Oh yeah,
Please keep that.
No, but that whole part is the best part of the whole show. And
unquestionably.
Also, we haven't mentioned him. Hayden Christensen came back as Vader. He's the dude in the suit, and he's
I did
great.
like that, yeah.
And also, we had that flashback in episode 5 where you get to see him again as a Padawan.
I liked that a lot, albeit they're going to spend millions of dollars de-aging Mark Hamill. They couldn't have touched up Hayden Christensen's face.
A 40-year-old man playing a 20-year-old?
Okay,
that took me out of it immediately.
Ewan McGregor looks the same.
That took me out of it immediately.
But Hayden Christensen, definitely his age, and they could have cleaned up his face a little bit.
I have my theory. This is my own personal speculation. I have nothing to confirm this. This is entirely my guessing. They saw all the people freaking out online after The Mandalorian about how Luke was a terrible CGI work. And they were like,
what?
Okay, clearly they don't like that. So Hayden looks close enough, I guess. And we're just not going to worry about it. This is entirely my own speculation. Okay, I have to make that clear. But that's my guess. Okay, they didn't like when we tried de-aging Mark Hamill, so let's try just leaving Hayden to his own devices.
Mandalorian Season 2 Mark Hamill, I bet. But the one in Book of Boba Fett was pretty sweet.
He did look good.
They didn't even have to do that much. They just had to clean up some of the wrinkles on Hayden's face. Would have been fine.
We've all seen videos of deep fakes where, people whip those out in a day or two, and they look better than the Season 2 Mandalorian Luke, so it's
Ant-Man, when they de-aged, what's his name?
Oh, Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas, thank you. It's Michael something or other.
I was watching Ant-Man the other day. I love that movie.
It is.
That's one of my favorite MCU movies.
It's a good one.
Anyway,
but
digress.
That whole training duel is my favorite part of episode 5.
Yeah.
I just didn't like episode 5 overall.
I thought it were cool. Oh, there were cool parts of it, but I was also like, why is she talking to Obi-Wan through the door?
Yeah, are they whispering through the crack of the door? Is that a telepathy thing?
Also, when she stabs through the door, how does she miss him? I didn't understand that. I was like, shouldn't he be dead?
I'm guessing
she could probably sense through the Force where he is.
I'm guessing that he just did a precognition thing.
See, once we have to do that level of thinking about the show, you miss the mark, I think, as a filmmaker. If you have to think more about which Force power he used and justify how he did it, than them just showing us how he did it.
I mean, it makes sense.
I know it makes sense, but with the way Star Wars is, if you look at the original trilogy, the ones that everybody agrees on that are good, you didn't have to explain how Darth Vader picked up all the machinery in Empire Strikes Back and threw that at Luke. You just knew that Darth Vader was powerful and he could do it. As we're getting deeper into Disney Star Wars, we have to keep digging for reasons why things are happening. Whereas with the other shows, you didn't have to do that. And that is where Disney is failing. Is because they keep having us dig and have filmmakers having to answer. It's the same thing with Marvel. Don't you remember after Endgame when everybody had a bajillion questions for the Russo brothers? And they had to answer, where did Cap go? Why didn't he show up in the middle of the game? It's it doesn't...
Who cares?
Well, but people care about that crap. The original trilogy, I'm sure, if the original trilogy came out now, they'd be like, why did Luke look at the lightsaber before he turned... dumb crap like that.
People are doing that now.
But the original trilogy, you can watch it without having to have everything explained to you. These ones, everybody wants an explanation, and I don't think Star Wars as a whole is going to continue to suffer because of that. I think.
It's because they're listening to the wrong kinds of feedback. We heard about what happened with Solo, and they took the wrong lessons from what happened with that movie. They blamed it solely on,
bad backlash.
Bad backlash when they really just kind of should have looked at a lot of other things about how they marketed it and the financial results of it. And then that led into how they made this movie.
You can't see it, but I'm totally nodding.
The Rise of Skywalker, a lot of that movie was quite literally made with...
To retcon Last Jedi.
That, but also they literally took fan suggestions from Tumblr, Reddit, and Twitter and put them in the movie to basically, cobble together a story with Scotch tape.
If I may interject here, do not ever take story advice from Tumblr. I have seen snapshots of that website.
It's a cesspool.
You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Tumblr's not that bad. I mean, it's bad, but it also
Twitter's worse.
The point is that you don't take story lessons from people who don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also just the fact that people have so many ideas.
Also,
or their own interpretation.
Disney needs to quit being so scared, and they should have just let Phil Lord and Christopher Miller do Solo.
Yeah.
For real. If they had just done that, that movie would have been infinitely better. And I like Solo. I thought it was I really liked it. But, man, can you imagine what they could have done with Solo?
Han Solo, but with the script of something like the Lego Movie or Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Shut up and take my money.
Not even Lego Movie, because Lego Movie would be a little bit awkward with Han Solo. But the script of Into the Spider-Verse. That would have been so awesome to have Han Solo in one of those scripts. It would have been hilarious. We would have been awesome. It would have been awesome.
We would have all loved it.
So good.
Also, but I will say this. I do like Solo as a solo movie. I thought it was good.
Solo was a solo movie.
But
I do enjoy that one too. Not great, but I
enjoyed it a lot actually. But
if I was to summarize how I feel about this show, it's that there were a lot of good ideas here, and I think they definitely could have done something with the idea of Obi-Wan and Darth Vader coming back together for some kind of confrontation, whether or not it's a physical altercation or a mental, physical exercise. But I really do feel that it would have been much better if it was condensed into a movie.
Yep.
Obi-Wan is kind of emblematic of how all of these, limited event Disney Plus series have been going. They tell stories that are tailor-made for movies, but they stretch them way out.
Yep.
Just with a bunch of filler and a lot of things that don't really add cohesively to the whole story. And then they have to wrap everything up so neatly and tightly at the end, but, without much payoff. I think we were talking about the finale earlier, and how the scene between Vader and Obi-Wan, we all agree that's the best scene in the show.
Because Christensen killed it.
Yeah, he was great.
So
Ewan McGregor was great.
Well.
And the lines they said were also very effective.
The lightsaber lights were cool too. But anyways, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, the fighting was amazing. Sorry, Zach, me interrupted.
No, it's fine. But I was just thinking, if I was to rewrite this as a movie, certainly hone in more specifically Darth Vader and and Obi-Wan as the main characters. Maybe have some side characters here just to at least build up the conflict. But maybe what they should have done is they should have had it be a much stronger battle of wills and, opposite sides, light versus the dark. Obi-Wan and Darth Vader pretty much push each other to the breaking limit of their physical well-being, basically to the point where both of them are dying, and something else happens to where, both of them are basically almost dead, but they have to have some other kind of external force get them out of the fight. And so one person doesn't really have agency over the other person's fate, I guess. They were just so filled with despondency and a lack of hope for a real redemption for either of them that they just kept on fighting no matter what. I felt that could have been more interesting. Maybe that's just how I see it. But I think it would have had less bad implications for the whole entire Star Wars universe as a whole. Obi-Wan leaving Darth Vader there again to kill more people. And kind of stuff like that, but
to be fair on Mustafar, you could make the assumption that Obi-Wan thought that Anakin wouldn't survive.
Oh yeah,
that one's totally fair. And then this show, I got nothing. He really, if Obi-Wan seriously has given up on Anakin, kill him right then and there. He's a threat. He's gonna heal and fix his suit and everything. He's just gonna go back to terrorizing the galaxy. Kill him right then and there.
Kill him.
Yeah, and it's not like he's going to have a Jedi Council to be accountable to.
It's his own morals, though.
I am the Council.
Anyway.
But that would have posed a much... That would have been a really interesting, moral part of the story, though. It would have added stakes for him to decide if he's going to kill Vader or stick so well to the Jedi Code that he lets him go,
Can you imagine what would have happened if they had killed Vader? Like, let's reboot the entire Star Wars trilogy.
Right?
Oh,
Man.
We would have gone into meltdown, and that is also not beneath Disney in the
Dude.
slightest.
They pull the Ezra time travel stuff.
Yeah, right.
God.
I don't know, like, holy crap. Now Ezra, then the Ahsoka show is her going back in time to make sure Obi-Wan doesn't kill Anakin.
Season 2 is about
the
Obi-Wan going to Lothal.
The sacred timeline is
Oh
preferred.
my gosh. You know it's bad if we have to rip off the plot of Dragon Ball Xenoverse.
Also, the Loki
Yeah, there you
show.
Yeah, the Loki show
Well,
too.
yeah, and Loki, but
Ugh.
the go back in time and ensure the timeline happened as it
Or
should.
Endgame.
I
Back
found
to the
that
Future,
first
Wrinkle
in
in Time.
Hot Tub Time
Hot
Machine.
Time Machine.
We're just bringing
Time
up
Cop. Terminator.
yeah, we're just bringing up the dialogue from Endgame now. But
Anyway.
I will say this much: I did like the cameo from Qui-Gon Jinn.
Oh,
I know that is in there purely as fan service. I am 110%
awesome,
aware
though.
of that. But I also do like that we got to see Qui-Gon again, and Liam Neeson reprised his role. I seriously cannot imagine anyone else playing a Qui-Gon Jinn and
they
nailing it.
couldn't. He's reprised his role, though, when they've asked him. He's been like, sure,
Yeah.
whatever. I like him.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
showed up in Clone Wars, and that was
Yeah.
good.
Clone Wars.
Did you hear back in 2019 for Phantom Menace's 20th anniversary, he talked about his experience with the movie and he said, I know a lot of folks didn't like it, but I can't help but be proud of it because I got to be a Jedi and fight with those lightsabers. It was so fun. Like,
Also, he was... One of the funny things I've heard about Qui-Gon, when he was playing Qui-Gon, is he actually knew fencing.
yeah.
So he was demolishing people on set because he actually knew how to fight with a sword. It's amazing.
Between him
Qui-Gon.
and Chris, we
I was
have
about to say,
him, Christopher Lee, who are very skilled, trained sword fighters. Then you have Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen making lightsaber noises.
Yeah.
right?
It's a wonder those movies even come made, man.
Right?
Oh,
Let alone the original trilogy. Jeez.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Thank goodness for Star Wars managing
Man,
to survive.
George
There's
Lucas,
a lot to
at
love.
the end of both those trilogies, it must have been like,
It's done.
It's gone.
He was like Frodo
done.
walking out
Frodo.
of Mount Doom.
Frodo walking out of Mount Doom. First I had to deal with people not taking me seriously. Now I have to deal with Hayden and freaking Ewan McGregor making lightsaber sounds.
And now I gotta deal with people taking this franchise way too seriously.
No wonder he went gray so quickly.
He's probably so relieved to sell it to Disney.
Doesn't have
I
to
know.
deal with that crap anymore.
Cool.
I should say, to close things out, that, like, I don't like it when people react negatively to a Star Wars property and then they're like, Star Wars is dead, Disney has ruined my life and all this stuff. It's like, well, some are going to be good, some are going to be bad, but don't let that take you away from your genuine love for Star Wars. Like, hold on to the things that are great, and, you know, those things will still be great. You know, because one thing might have been not so good, you shouldn't have to have your whole entire worldview changed because something isn't kind of what you
Seriously.
expected. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't really like this show. I'm going to be honest about that. There for other reasons that we haven't talked about, but, you know, like, I still love Star Wars as a whole. It's like a very integral part of who I am, and I wouldn't love film and art in general the same way I would if it wasn't a part of my life. And so I think people just need to really chill out and realize that these things are they're just works of entertainment. If you're that invested to where your whole livelihood is basically threatened by the fact that something isn't good, then maybe you should reevaluate yourself a little bit.
Or, you know, go write your own script if you can do it so much better.
Right?
Michael.
Have some humility,
If
people.
Disney sucks so bad,
Why don't
show
you-
us how it's done.
Why don't you try owning Star Wars?
Right?
Please, billions of people.
I just gave you my blueprint for how I would have written episode 6 of the show, Justin.
Why don't you?
So did I, but I'm not gonna pretend like I can actually do it.
Yeah. I'm not gonna pretend like I am at all qualified to go write scripts and direct and act and edit and all that jazz.
Bro, can you
Those
imagine?
people are genuine professionals for a reason.
Dude,
Yeah.
Dave Filoni must be on some, like... He must enjoy what he does. That would suck. Can you imagine Kathleen Kennedy? I'm sure she doesn't get up the morning and be like, hey, how can I ruin Star Wars today?
Oh, jeez.
I'm sure she doesn't do that. But, like... I
Some
would
of the
not
choices they make are kind of baffling.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want to be in her shoes. Can you
No.
imagine?
No.
If they
Podcast.
freak out at one bad casting choice, can you imagine what she gets? She probably can't even go near social media.
No.
She probably can't even go in public, for goodness sake.
I sincerely
I
doubt
bet that's true.
So those are our thoughts on Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like I was saying, think of it what you will, have your own opinion, but at the end of the day, it's just entertainment. But if you liked this video, please feel free to subscribe to the channel and join that notification squadron so that you won't miss out on future videos, whether or not they're like this or if they're one of my scripted and fully edited videos. Thank you all for watching and listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for having us, Zach. Later, y'all.